good evening, everybody. I just want to introduce you to SCORE and the fact that SCORE is able to offer this to you for free right now. We've had some grants that have enabled us during COVID to do this, and you're in for a great treat with Ken tonight. And I will please log on as you did to our website, SCORE, orlandoscore.org, and you'll see all the other seminars that we have to offer. We also do mentoring, and you can sign up to have a mentor, and we will get right back with you as soon as you do that. So thank you.
All right, there we go. We got it to work. Awesome. Cora, by the way, put something in that she's concerned about sending too many emails. We'll talk about that too. So Ruth did a great intro. Let me just add to what she said. SCORE is an incredible organization. If you're not that familiar with it, it's a nonprofit volunteer organization that's dedicated to helping America's small business. It's a resource partner of the Small Business Administration, the SBA. 13,000 experienced volunteer counselors nationwide, with hundreds of chapters across the US, 25 or so in Florida. The Orlando office has about 55 volunteers and 3 part-time administrators. And what makes SCORE unique is all the mentors are volunteers. They've got experience. If you have not yet availed yourself of SCORE, you owe it to yourself and your business to do that. The average business experience is up to 30 years per person, some even more. And there are people out of corporate life, out of the people who have been entrepreneurs. And certainly given today's COVID situation, you can do email mentoring as well as phone, web, you name it. So free one-to-one counseling, business seminars just like this one, tools and templates and resources. Go to orlando.score.org and connect with SCORE Orlando also on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay, so if you joined us a few minutes after we got started, use the chat and Q&A boxes to let me know what city you're joining me from, and use that to throw your questions in and comments throughout the event. So, I always like to start out by asking this question: why is it that you're here today? And I'm guessing you probably want to make more money. So what I'd like you to do is to let me know the struggles you're having with marketing. And you don't have to limit yourself to email marketing, any aspect of marketing, and we'll address them in some fashion during the course of the session. And if you found that the Q&A and chat boxes seem to have disappeared, move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen, and then you'll see a black bar show up where the arrow's pointing right now. And go ahead and drop in your questions and your chat. And as I mentioned, I've got 3 screens going on, so I'm checking those during the course of the event. All right, so if you're ready, then let's go ahead and get started. Ready? Here we go.
Email is an essential way to build customer relationships and get real business results. Your customers check email several times a day. Email marketing makes beautiful, professional-looking emails affordable, easy, and ready to send in just 3 steps. First, choose a customizable template and add your message, colors, logo, and images. In just minutes, you've created your email. Second, import your customer list from Gmail, Outlook, and more. When you're ready, divide your list into groups so the right people get the right message. No list? No problem. Get your list growing in no time by asking your current customers and friends to sign up. Your customers can even join your list from their phones or your Facebook page and website. Want to reach customers beyond the inbox? It's easy to share your emails on social networks like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and for your customers to share with their networks too. Think of it as the word of mouth your business relies on, gone social. Your third step? Hit send and let email marketing track your results for you. See how many opens and clicks your email's getting, and watch business roll in.
And it really is that simple. If you're not yet using email marketing, it's something that I hope by the end of this session this evening that you'll do. By a show of hands, go ahead and raise your hand. This will be good practice for you to see if you remember where the raise hand button is. Let me know if you're currently using email marketing. Doesn't matter what kind. So Lisa, Cora, Abdullah, Sheila. Okay, so a few of you, not everybody, but that's okay. That's typical for many businesses also. By the way, in the chat box over the course of the last couple of minutes, Ida says that she's joining us from Celebration. And Tony says, hey, we're a new business that just reopened. Bad timing. Well, you know, it's better that you're open than not, certainly. And at this stage of the game, you know, it's anybody's guess how things are going to go. Hopefully, we'll start back down the curve instead of running up the curve as it's been for the last week or two. All right, so I want to welcome everybody, whether you're joining me for the first time or whether you've been to one of my events in the past, whether it's live on site as we had been doing them at the National Entrepreneur Center, or webinars. This is actually the third webinar I'm doing this week. I'm doing 6 webinars this week. And so if you find that you got some value out of this event, I hope you'll join me for some of the other ones as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about email marketing. Do you have any idea how many people check their email every day? 99%. 99% of us are checking our email every single day. And that's one of the reasons why email turns out to be the best, bar none, the best marketing tool when it comes to ROI, or return on investment. 42 to 1. Nothing else will give you that kind of a result. So let's talk about getting more opens with great subject lines. All right, if you're ready, let's go. Hey, people, I'm going to shut my camera off, by the way. People open up emails because of 2 things. And just the other day, I got an email from a shop, the Concord Cheese Shop, as a matter of fact. And this is the email they sent. It had the subject line that says, the latest news for you. Well, that's not a bad subject line, but it wasn't doing very much to inspire me to open up their email. Regardless, I opened up the email because I knew who they were. I opened up the email because of a relationship that I have with the business. And for many individuals and businesses and organizations, getting someone to open your email starts by building and having a relationship that's engaging to them in the first place. And that's why your from name is so important. 42% of people look at the from or sender name first before they decide to open an email. So to start, you've got to make sure that your from information is recognizable to your audience. And then the subject line is what should pique their interest and let them know what to expect in that email. So I'm going to give you some tips and examples to try, but the results will ultimately come down to how well you know your audience and the relationship that you have with them. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda to see what I'll cover during this session. First, I'm going to start out by talking about the basics, like what makes a good subject line. Then I'll talk about some trends that I'm seeing in subject lines. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about some ideas for getting creative with your subject lines. Now, I know many of you are here with me for the first time. My name is Countess. I've got 40 years as a marketer. I'm in my 20th year as an independent consultant, helping businesses of all sizes grow. And previously, I was a senior marketing executive at 3 Fortune 100 companies. You probably recognize at least one of these names, Caremark, which is part of CVS, Motorola, and Marriott. And over my 40-year career, I've been helping businesses of all kinds with all aspects of strategic and tactical marketing and communications. And it truly does run the gamut. targeted marketing, lead generation, marketing automation, brand awareness. I was Motorola's corporate communications and PR chief for a while, handling environmental issues and disaster relief and workplace issues. You name it, I've done it. My company is the Countess Group. What we do is we help businesses just like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition. By the way, I mentioned a few moments ago, I was named Constant Contact's top trainer again. Since 2018, I've held that honor, and I really am proud since there are 300 of us that on some level compete for that distinction. What we do at the Countess Group, which is very different from many other marketing companies, is we teach you how to do targeted marketing. Spray and pray just simply isn't the way to market your business. It costs a lot of money and gets you low results. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about the basics of a good subject line. The inbox is a busy place, especially now. Especially now. With COVID, people are chained to their smartphones and computers, it seems, because they don't have very much else to do. So they're in their inbox all the time. And many people are reading emails on a mobile device. In fact, more than half of us are checking our email on a mobile. So what all of this means, especially knowing that people are reading email on mobile, it means that your subject line and your pre-header text needs to be short and sweet. People are scanning their inbox and making quick decisions, so you need to get to the point and catch their attention right away. All right, show of hands again. Who here knows what I mean when I use the term pre-header text? Go ahead and raise your hand. Use that raise hand tool. 1, 2. That's it, Lisa and Cora? Okay. That's pretty typical, by the way. It's just a few of you. And the pre-header text is what shows up directly below or after the subject line in the inbox. The pre-header text is almost like a second subject line that you can use to catch your audience's attention. I actually suggest that you use it as an extension of your subject line. The pre-header text typically pulls in the first line of text that's in the body of your email, but when you're using a tool like Constant Contact, it's a separate field, so you can better control the text that people will see in that area. So today I'm going to talk about different examples and tips that you can try in your subject line. And it's important to know that these same tips and ideas can be applied to your pre-header text. Now, while there are a few email programs that don't show the pre-header text, yeah, I'll suggest filling in the pre-header text field. Otherwise, you'll be missing out on an opportunity to provide a little bit more insight on why people should open your email. And by the way, this is a very common question I see, so I wanted to make sure that I addressed it up front. Now, because of all of this, you want your subject line to be short and sweet, about 4 to 7 words. And now for the length of the pre-header text, that matters too. And for this, I recommend 5 to 8 words. And with all of this in mind, I want to suggest that you really think about the first 2 words. People read from left to right. And if they're scanning, having your most important words first can certainly help you. And because you have a limited amount of space and time, that also means there are a few things that I recommend you avoid. I often see a lot of marketers putting the company name in the subject line. I don't recommend you do that. It's already in your from name field and even your email address if you send from your own domain. So it's too repetitive and it takes up room for the other wording that could push your audience to open up that email. Another thing I tend to see is the word newsletter, and then also include a date, something along the lines of what you see here. And I think people can become immune to seeing this month after month. Give people a reason to open your email. Pique their curiosity. Show your email's relevance to them. And using the word newsletter is too cliche, and it won't help you stand out from the crowd of other emails that people receive. I get 650 emails a day on average. So I know that people are sending newsletters. I don't need to see that word. Okay? So I'm betting we have a few people in the audience here today who send a monthly newsletter with multiple topics. Feature one of those topics in your subject line. And if possible, use the highest priority or most exciting topic within the email to really drive interest. And by the way, I've also seen a lot of wasted space with the pre-header text and subject line combined. So keep those two fields in mind. Some examples will repeat or have a very similar phrase in both the subject line and pre-header fields, or they'll say something like, view message in browser, add us to safe sender. Well, that's not adding any value that entices people to want to open the email. So take a look at the subject and pre-header text together to make sure that they are enticing people to open your email. Make sure they accent each other. A great way to find out is by using the preview feature and sending yourself a test. Okay, so let's take a look at some simple ideas for your subject lines. One idea is to make your readers laugh with a joke or a pun. For a landscaping company, an example could be, calm down, Mother Nature. Another example could be to try to incorporate numbers. Numbers attract attention, as our brains are naturally drawn to digits. So try something like 5 tips for perfectly grilled ribs, especially now. Another idea is to be inquisitive and ask your readers a question like, are your investments working for your business? With this one, you'll notice that in the mobile view, the subject line gets cut off. So I'd recommend rewriting the subject to say, are your investments working? Now, if this were me, I would probably also rewrite the pre-header text also. I'd make it shorter to say 3 questions to maximize returns. And that way it fits better in a mobile view. You can also try to pull at their heartstrings by using an emotional subject line like, take 5 minutes to help animals in need. Now, this is going to be really important for those who have nonprofits. However, many for-profit businesses can use this too, especially when you start thinking about holiday promotions or celebrations with loved ones. And this one's a little bit longer as well, so I'd suggest making it a little bit more concise by eliminating any unnecessary words or rephrasing. I would rephrase this one to say, take 5 minutes to help. Another option is to create a sense of urgency or a fear of missing out. That's also called FOMO, by the way. An example here is Last Chance, register by Friday, where they are trying to get people to register for a training. So for this example, I'd recommend changing the pre-header text so it's not saying something so similar. For the pre-header, I would say, classes are almost full. Now, these are all simple and pretty straightforward, and I've seen some that turn out to be great performing emails. So are there any other straightforward subject lines that you've seen get really good results in working with your clients? Go ahead and throw a couple of those in the chat box. How about something like, for a fear of missing out subject line? Uh-oh, your subscription is expiring. or maybe a curiosity type of subject line, like 9 facts about the housing market. Or maybe a vanity subject line for those of you who are in healthcare or beauty. How about age-defying beauty tricks? All of those are the kinds of subject lines that are going to get someone's attention. Now, because your subject line will change for every email, let's take a look at some different types of emails and types of subject lines I've seen. So for welcome emails, I've seen some of these. Again, many are straightforward to say thank you. In fact, Michael just put that in the question box. The thank yous make people feel welcome. So this first one here says a thank you for our subscribers. And for those of you who entice people to sign up for your list with a gift or some sort of offer, you might put something brief about it in the subject line, like this second example. Enjoy your coupon. We can't wait to see you. Now, here are a few examples for birthday and anniversary type emails. This first one came out of my own inbox, and it said, "Happy birthday, Ken. This one's on us." And then for anniversaries, you can, of course, celebrate a wedding or a membership anniversary, but in this instance, it's a yearly reminder to renew their membership with "Your membership runs out on February 7th. Renew today." Cora asks, is there a guide or booklet with some sample subject lines? Yeah, Cora, actually, if you shoot me an email, I'll send you a copy of this deck. And I've got some other resources that I'm happy to send anybody who will shoot me a quick email, okay? So here are a few examples for offers and promotion emails that you might send. This first one celebrates a national holiday with "Celebrate National Oyster Day beginning August 4th. I'll bet you didn't know there was a National Oyster Day. And then there's the second one. They're trying to make the audience feel special with the phrase "email exclusive," and then letting people know when blueberry picking starts. Now, these are some examples that the team shared from their inboxes, but I would try to shorten these so they show up better on mobile. One thing I want to note with your offers and promotions is to be careful with the frequent use of percentage and dollar off amounts in the subject line. Your audience may become immune to seeing those in your emails. And plus, your audience likely sees a ton of these in their inbox every day. In some instances, I think people could be seeing too many of those. So you can try to find a way to rephrase it, like what you see here. People obviously don't like getting sold to all the time. So instead of using a discount, focus on the benefit the item or service will give them to change it up. And I see that Tony and Ruth have given me their email addresses. You can do that too if you like, or shoot an email to me right into my inbox. My email address is, you'll see it later on, but it's my initials, KC for Ken Countess, at thecountessgroup.com. And by the way, because you registered to attend, I'll have your email address, so I'm more than happy to send any resources that you'd like to you. All right, so let's move on to talk about event emails. There are a variety of different emails that can fall into this category. Of course, there are the save the date emails you could send, invitations and reminders so they don't forget, and then after event follow-ups too. So this first example is a save the date for the event and let people know that they can save on tickets. The second one says, OMG, oh my gosh, last chance to save on Connex tickets. And this actually came to my inbox from a B2B company, business to business. And I think for a lot of B2Bs especially, this can feel like breaking the rules. B2B subject lines tend to be very formal and basic. So using silly wording like OMG, last chance to save on tickets, or even boom shakalak, let's get started, that can really spice things up and attract attention. I think you really just need to think about your brand, personality, and the audience you're trying to send to, because you may be surprised about how stepping out of the box can really help you. Let me throw another poll in here, and I'd love for you to take a look and answer the poll. It's tell me, is your business B2B, B2C, or a blend of customers, rather consumers and businesses? Go ahead and let me know that. Let's see. TK is asking any numbers on the difference between email marketing with social media presence versus without. If I'm understanding your question correctly, TK, when you have a social presence, your email opens tend to increase, but that's with an asterisk. What I'm talking about here is that you want to make sure that in your email you show that you have a social media presence. That tells people that you are a social company. All right, some other phrases you might want to think about for event emails that aren't represented here are don't forget, register today, or even don't miss this. For some event emails, you'll want to try to invoke a fear of missing out or even some urgency. And it looks like for those who are on this live event, most are serving consumers. So that's awesome. Let me also ask another question here while I've got your attention. Let me know how you found out about this event. It's important to us because it helps us understand better how to market to you. And this is information, by the way, that I will be sharing with SCORE so they know what channels are working best to get people to attend. Okay, so while you're doing that, let's move on. There are some other types of emails that you can send, but let me lump all of these next examples into the category for helpful emails that provide value to subscribers. And these examples are pretty straightforward. This first one is referencing a helpful white paper for nonprofits on fundraising. It says, new white paper, explore the ROI. If you're not familiar with that term, it's return on investment. So explore the ROI of peer-to-peer fundraising now. Now, this is another example subject that's a little long. I'd probably remove the first words that are in brackets and just try ROI of peer-to-peer fundraising. And this second example talks about the 8 healthy foods that can prevent weight loss. Hopefully that'll give you a couple of ideas. Now, at this point, you've seen a variety of good examples, but it's also important to talk about some don'ts for your subject lines too. According to anti-spam laws around the world, your subject lines cannot be misleading or deceptive. Now, I know you probably won't try to be deceptive, but sometimes email marketers try to get really creative and then don't realize how a subject line could be misleading. And if people feel misled about opening your email, there's a good chance that they'll mark your email as spam. And that's something you don't want to happen. So let's take a look at a few examples of what not to do. Don't try to imply a continuing conversation just to get people to open by adding the abbreviations for forward or reply. And also watch out for urgency. Sometimes people make an email sound more urgent than it actually is. And people often ask, I get this asked all the time, how do I avoid the spam filter? Well, first, you want to be sure you're building your list the right way and not actually spamming people. You don't want people to mark your email as spam. You also want to avoid doing some things that can trigger it to land in a spam filter. You can also scan your spam and junk folders every once in a while to see what's landing in there. Just avoid some of the common things that you see there. So here's a visual of the junk folder in one of my inboxes. There's some real spam in here, as well as a few from real senders that I actually signed up for. So what are the common triggers? Words like free or guarantee or spam or writing in all caps or excessive punctuation. They can get you in the spam box. Okay, now along those same lines, real spammers tend to use a lot of, we'll call them dirty words, which also means that spam filters have evolved to have dirty minds, and they look for words within words, or even phrases that could be misconstrued. So here's an example that was shared by someone I know. They sent an email for a client and noticed that the email was blocked by a large majority of inboxes. It had this subject line. Ready? Want your HVAC system to last longer? Regular maintenance is key. Now, that seems fairly innocent, right? Who wants to take a guess at what was causing this subject line to be blocked? Use the question box or the chat box. Want your HVAC system to last longer? Regular maintenance is key. Why do you think that wound up in a spam folder? Okay, longer and maintenance. Yeah, that's exactly right. So thanks for sharing. Hey, what they did was they did some testing by eliminating one word at a time and determined that the phrase last longer was causing the email to land in the spam folder for many of the client's customers. So they resent the email with a new subject line and saw much better deliverability rates. And this is the subject they used. Regular maintenance is the key to a healthy system. A lot more innocuous, isn't it? So another thing I want you to keep in mind is that every spam filter is different. So if you're seeing some issues, it's best to get in touch with us or the Constant Contact support team so they can help you determine what the issue really is. Once again, spam filters are different. If you're using Gmail and Yahoo Mail and AOL Mail and Outlook Mail, the spam filters are different company to company. All right, let's move on and take a look at some trends that we're seeing in the inbox with subject lines. One of the things that I'm seeing overall is personalization. And there are a few things you can do to make your subject lines feel personal to catch your reader's attention. Using you or your, personalizing with the first name. One stat that we found is that when the first word in your subject line is you or your, open rates increase significantly. For business-to-business stats, they show an increase by 20%. And for business-to-consumer company emails, open rates increase by 22%. Now, this first example says, are your Google ads not showing? This could be why. Another stat that we found showed that using a subscriber's name in the subject line can boost open rates by about 3%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 3%, if you have a list of a few hundred people, that can start to add up. Now, I like this second example as they combine the subject line, the subscriber's first name with the word you or your to make it feel personal by saying, Rachel, your personalized concert lineup is here. Now, depending on the topic of your email, you could also personalize the subject line by adding in other details that are known about your subscribers to make it relevant. Now, these subject lines are a little long, especially for viewing on mobile, but remember, it all goes back to the three things that people see in the inbox that play a role in getting people to open your email: the from name, the subject, and the preheader text. Together, those three are going to have the biggest impact. Now, the next trend is the use of emojis. And I get a lot of questions and even some hesitance about them, as some marketers feel that they may increase spam filtering, or even that they might not be appropriate for their own audience. Now, based on research, subject lines that trigger spam filters are using the same top emojis. That means the subject lines themselves are likely the trigger, not the emojis. If you have a good subject line, adding a good supporting emoji can make the subject line even better. But if your subject line is already bad with common spam filtering triggers, adding an emoji can only make it worse. So one study shows that emojis actually increase the open rate 60% of the time versus the same subject line with no emoji. Just don't use emojis all the time. Emojis can help you stand out in the inbox and help you convey an emotion or feeling. So it's definitely something to try. Now, it's important to know that emojis won't work for every business or industry, or even every email you send. You may find your audience doesn't understand them, or they just don't work with your messages. Now, have any of you used emojis and had some success? Or have you seen subject examples that didn't work out well?
Ken, you have a question about the open rate on emails?
Yeah. So the open rate of 23% is considered a great open rate. Yeah, believe it or not, it is. And here's why. If you think about your own inbox, and I mentioned how many emails I get a day, I get 600 and something a day, every single day. Think about your own inbox. If you get 100 emails a day, are you opening all 100? Probably not. You may open up 10 or 15. Well, that's only a 10 or 15% open rate. So if you can get up to 23%, believe it or not, it sounds weird, but you're hitting a home run. Now, how do you get that number up even higher? I can teach you methods that will get that open rate to 30, 40, 50%, but that has much more to do with how you segment your list to make sure that you're sending the right email to the right person. So let's say, for example, that you hold events in a variety of places throughout Florida. We'll just use that as an example. And let's assume we're not in the COVID situation. If I send an email to people in Orlando, and the event is going to be in Orlando, and the only people that get that email are the people that I know are in the Orlando market, the open rates will be about 50%. But if I send that same email to everybody throughout Florida, it'll be about 10%. So it's very much about having a great subject line, and these things take thought. So if you're not used to writing emails and particularly subject lines, it can be difficult. One of the things that I recommend you do to help you get your open rates higher, if you're already doing email marketing, is take a look at newspaper headlines, or when you do a Google search, if you're looking online at headlines, what are the headlines that are getting your attention? Guess what? If they're getting your attention, they're probably getting other people's attention too. And they're probably using power words that get people to stop what they're doing and open the email. So, here's an example. One that specifically worked well was a diet or wellness company. Oh, you're welcome, Cora. One thing that opened that worked specifically well was a diet or wellness company that was promoting their diet and added in a banana emoji and an apple emoji, and it really accented the message. So for something like that, that was relevant. Now, I would avoid using, for instance, a siren or flashing light emoji if the urgency isn't there, because, of course, that could be deceiving. So I suggest that you test the use of emojis and really any of the ideas that I've shared with you. And that's where A/B testing comes in. An A/B test allows you to write different subject lines with the same email and see which one performs better. If you have Constant Contact, they actually have an A/B testing feature. That's when you have the Email Plus package. And this feature makes it super easy, and it splits your list automatically. So what you'll be able to do, for instance, is test the use of emojis and test the subject lines. So maybe in test A, you do have emojis. In test B, you don't. And see which one works better for you. For the other ideas that I mentioned so far, you might write a straightforward subject line for the first one and try one of the other ideas for the second one. And now let's take a look at some subject lines that have emojis. The first example includes 3 different emojis to talk about recipes. The second one asks a question and includes the eyes. So that's one that caught my attention about their offer for free shipping. And this last one used a camera emoji to support their email about a photo contest. And now let me talk about best practices. Don't use the same emoji every time. Don't use them in every subject line. And make sure that it supports your message. And I think this goes back to thinking about the brand personality that you want to convey and considering the type of email that you're sending as well. I do want to note that all devices and email programs render emojis differently. By the way, you can go to a website. It's called Emojipedia, Emoji, E-M-O-J-I, Pedia, P-E-D-I-A. And that will not only give you a lot of emojis to choose from, but it also will show you how that emoji will display on different email devices. So for instance, they may show up as a different color, or they may change shape a bit. And for some, they won't show up at all. So I want to suggest that you send some test emails to yourself to see how it displays through a few different email programs to make sure they're still supporting your message. In Constant Contact, you can also purchase an add-on for Inbox Preview, which will allow you to see the previews in different inboxes right within the account. I don't recommend that you necessarily have to do that, but it's an option. And by the way, I know I've mentioned that brand name quite a bit. I've had an association with them for 10 years. If you're not using their product yet, I have a free trial offer that doesn't require a credit card. I'll show that to you a little bit later on. Now, I wouldn't say this next one is quite a trend, but I've been seeing more and more subject lines using brackets. And this is a way to put focus on a word or a small phrase to make it stand out. And I've been seeing this mostly in the B2B environment, business to business, to focus on words like guide or ebook or webinar or something similar. So some examples might be putting brackets around the word video, like our potluck was a hit, or new laws that homeowners should know about. Here are a few other examples of subject lines that I've seen. The first one uses brackets to say new webinar, how to transform your webinar into an endless supply of content. Now with this example, I want to point out that the pre-header text isn't very informative. So don't let the pre-header text be determined by the content of your email like this, as I mentioned before. Now this second example is from a company that helps nonprofits. This subject line uses the word reminder in brackets and then says webinar on Wednesday, turn #Giving Tuesday donors into recurring donors. And most marketers are putting the brackets at the beginning of the subject line, but again, just do some testing with it. Gmail on mobile devices in particular truncates bracketed words at the beginning if they're longer than 6 characters. So keep that in mind if you plan to use this with your audience. All right, so let's move on so I can talk about some additional tips to help you get creative. You've seen quite a few examples where being straightforward with your subject line can be effective, and I recommend you try to be pretty straightforward in your subject lines for the most part. But I do think there are some opportunities where you might want to spice things up. So you can put a focus on a special promotion or featured content, but most of all, you don't want to look like you're trying too hard. And don't forget about testing. Along with everything else, you want to try something new. Make sure you're testing out this next set of ideas. The first idea is alliteration, where you'll repeat the same first letter for each word. The eye tends to look for patterns, which could potentially help your email stand out in the inbox. I find these really hard to come up with, so if you can come up with the right words, it might be something to try. But here are a few examples: 6 seasonal saving secrets, or top trends to try today. Now, this next idea is called chunking, where you don't write a sentence. It kind of feels like you're breaking the rules on this one. And if you're struggling with subject lines that are too long, it can help to keep things short but also stand out because it won't be following the normal sentence structure. So in this example, we can see there are new clothing items that they've just added and how they've separated them out with periods. The second one uses the plus and equal signs to create a chunking effect that way. And that really stands out to me. This next idea uses allusion, which is where you refer to pop culture or famous lines. This first example is for a candy store, referencing back to that famous line in Forrest Gump. And the next one says, "Hey, we know what you did yesterday," referencing a movie from the 90s. Now, this subject line actually referenced a sale the day before, and the email was asking the customer to provide feedback on their experience. Now, make sure your audience will understand. Make sure the allusion is understood by the generation that you're sending to. A cult classic that isn't widely known could confuse people. Now, the next thing I want to touch on for your subject lines is to think about power words. Now, remember how the first few words are the most important? Well, a power word at the beginning can help you to stand out. Power words help you trigger a psychological or emotional response from your email message, and they can help you to persuade your audience to do something, which is really what you want. Power words typically fall into a few categories. So here on the screen, I've got just 4 different categories. There are more, but there are power words that you can choose within those categories out there. So some of the sources that you can look up, one is optinmonster.com. There are over 700 power words in different categories. So think about emotion, like remarkable body transformation, or just think about the kind of response that you want from your subscribers. So at this point, I want to recap a few things. Remember the importance of your relationship with your subscribers. Start with a solid from name. Change your subject line for every email to make it relevant to the content of your email message. And don't forget about the preheader text. Always use that as an extension of your subject line. And straightforward subject lines work great. Start to try out the use of your contacts' names and even emojis to see if you can increase your open rates. And last but not least, you've got some creative techniques to try with your audience. You can try alliteration, allusion, and even chunking to make your subject line stand out. And also don't forget about the use of power words at the beginning to try to trigger a psychological or emotional response from your subscribers, but continually try new ideas so you can see what works for your audience. You really can do this. There are some really great tools out there to make it easier, like Constant Contact, and we're going to go over a few simple ways to help you use less time, money, and energy running your marketing. You can get all of your marketing needs in one place, whether it's email marketing or very recently, Constant Contact added a new website builder, which is free when you have one of their subscriptions. A logo builder, free too. You can place social ads right from the same dashboard. Google ads, we're running Google ads for one of our clients now. You could run Facebook ads to get more website traffic, find new customers on social media. It's all pretty simple. It's easy to do, and we'll teach you what to do. I mentioned earlier that email's got a return on investment of 42 to 1. What that means is that for every dollar that you spend on an email campaign, if you're doing just an average job, you should get $42 back. That's a pretty good return. I wish my stocks would do that. So I've got a quick case study for you. This is on email marketing. We have a client that had been using AdWords and got a 0 ROI. Cora asked if you'll get a recording of the presentation. I am recording this. I'll do a little bit of editing on it, but yeah, I'll make it available. Absolutely. So this client of ours came to one of these sessions, and their business was running about $50,000 a year. They couldn't figure out a way to grow it. They tried AdWords, and they said it was like flushing money down the toilet. So they started using email marketing, and here's what they said.
Hi, I'm Pamela Fay, co-owner of Imprints for Less, founded in 2010. We provide over 1 million products with your logo on them. Everything from bags, pens, cups, anything you can imagine. In our first year, we averaged $50,000 in sales. Business growth was slow in the first 3 years, and in 2013, we started using Constant Contact. With the help of Countess, our business tripled almost immediately. Today, we average over $500,000 in sales annually. Everyone at Imprints for Less would like to thank Constant Contact and Countess. Thanks, Ken.
Well, I actually don't take any credit for it. I mean, this is work that they did. We taught them what to do, but in 2019, they hit $750,000 in sales. They stopped using AdWords when they started using email. So look, your results can vary. Their ROI is over 300 to 1. They wind up spending about $150 a month because they grew their list. I mean, their list is now, last I looked, about 17,000 people. So they spend $150 and they generate $750,000 a year. All right, listen, Q&A is coming up, so I want you to be thinking about the kinds of questions that have come up for you. I want to acknowledge Lisa, who had a beautiful subject line, it looks like, it was Super Sizzling Summer Special. That's awesome. Nice job there, Lisa. All right, so Q&A is coming up. My question for you is, what will your 2020 look like if you don't do anything different than you did last year? Now, I think I know the answer. I mean, most businesses are struggling right now because of COVID. No secret there. But email marketing is affordable. Often I get asked the question, well, how much really does it cost? It only costs $20 a month to start. So you can start out with a free, you're welcome, Lisa. You can get a free 60-day trial and free training. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Constant Contact's top trainer. One of the people on my team used to work at Constant Contact. So just go to completelyfreetrial.com, completelyfreetrial.com. And if you go there and the system says, hey, you already have an account, that simply means that sometime in your past you did create an account and you let it go. Just use a different email address and it'll still work. Okay? So completelyfreetrial.com. And by the way, if you're a SCORE client, and because you attended this session, you are a SCORE client, you can get up to 25% off for the life of your subscription to Constant Contact. All you need to do is set up the free trial. Don't put a credit card in yet. And I will code the account. And so when you do decide to pay, you get 25% off, for up to 25% off for the life of your subscription. That's based on a 12-month prepay. If it's a 6-month prepay, it's 20% off. All right, so Cora, yes, really. Okay, so what's next? What's next is I want you to take action. I know I've thrown a lot of stuff at you over the last hour. It's time to take your business to the next level. So there are 3 action items for you to do this week. It's only Tuesday. So here's what I want you to do. Number 1, I want you to take a look at your marketing. And I want you to tell me, is it providing you the results that you need to succeed? And number 2, schedule a consultation with me. We offer free consultations. Sign up by going to our website. It's thecountessgroup.com. And then you'll see a purple button that says schedule time with Ken. And there's a free 15-minute consult, no sales pitch. It gives me a chance to learn a little bit about your business and make some recommendations for you on how you can grow your business. And then sign up for our events too. I mentioned this week I'm doing 6 webinars. I've done 3 already this week. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, more webinars coming up, and they're free, just like this one. And then number 3, we have something called the Email Marketing Academy. And this is something that I've put together. Right now, there are something like 70 videos up there where you get to learn how to do email marketing at your pace, on any device, anytime you like, and then you reach out to me if you need additional help. So you go to our website, it's thecountessgroup.com/email-academy. When you go to the site where the Email Academy is, you'll see this screen way down at the bottom. And there's a free trial. And then there's a weekly, you can sign up for under $10 a week, and it's no contract. So if it works for you, check it out. And then we have other software offers too that take no credit card. I want you to sign up for the tools that will help you grow your business. That's why we're doing this. SCORE and I have partnered for years, and the goal is to get you to grow your business. Take advantage of all these resources. So many of them are free. At the very least, they start out free. Why not take advantage of it? All right, we're going to Q&A. And let's see. Lisa says, I have a subscription to Constant Contact. Am I eligible for 25% off? We may have to recode your subscription. Give me a call and I'll see what we can do to help you out. Can we send the info as mentioned? Yeah, Abdullah, I'll go ahead and you'll probably get it tomorrow morning. Maybe tonight if I can't sleep. If I'm up late tonight, I'll go ahead and I'll get all these things sent out. But for sure by tomorrow, you'll have a copy of all of these slides. It's a 17-page PDF, which has every single slide. Okay, so we're going to Q&A. And here's where the Q&A button is if you forgot, or if it's hidden. If you can't find it, move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen, throw your questions in there, and we'll get those questions answered. We're going to get through this challenging time by working together. My name's Ken Countess. I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group. We help businesses just like yours gain an unfair advantage over your competition with targeted marketing. That's what we teach you how to do. And we're a full service group. We can help you with anything you need related to marketing your business. And why would you work with us? We're a team of over 30 people with over 40 years of experience. We've got specialists on building websites. I mentioned email marketing, Facebook, public relations, and we can coach you or we can do it for you. I have just one ask of you for attending. Share the email that you'll get from me. It'll say something like, thanks for attending today's event. Share my social posts and like my social pages. That does two things. Obviously, it gets us exposure, but more than that, it gives you exposure. It gives you credibility among your peers that you found someone or a company that's offering you some great information that you can put to work right away. And I do have to say that the SCORE folks are here to help. They've been here for a long time, and they're great people. I've been working with the SCORE team for years and years, and every single one of them is totally dedicated to helping business, your business. So take time to absorb and practice what you've seen today. Call me or call SCORE if you have any questions. We're going to Q&A. Go to our website where you'll get replays and upcoming events. And I mentioned the free software trials. You can schedule that consultation with me and more. And you can find me every place on social media. If you're there, I'm there. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We have 150 videos on YouTube. We've got 140 people who have subscribed to our channel. Subscribe to our channel so you'll know when we're posting new video. We're posting new video at least once or twice a week. And we present live events just like this every week. Just go to our website, thecountessgroup.com. You can call or text me anytime you like. I just want to say thanks for attending today's class, and I hope you'll attend another one of our events. SCORE is a non-for-profit 501c3 organization. They rely on donations to continue their mission. So I hope that this SCORE series has given you some added value for your business. And SCORE is hoping that you'll support them so they can continue to provide classes like these to you and to other entrepreneurs. And I encourage you to join me for another webinar. Sign up at thecountessgroup.com/events. And now let me take a look at the Q&A box.
While you're doing that, Ken, can I jump in real quick?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Well, again, thank you everybody for attending tonight. We're very grateful to the donors who have given us some grants recently so that we can offer you this for free. It would normally have been $35. And Ken is great. But also, if you need a mentor to help grow your business, other than just what Ken is offering, go to orlando.score.org. And there's a list of all the other webinars and seminars that we have. But there's also a page for filling out if you would like a mentor to contact you that can give you some advice on helping your business to grow. Right now, we are doing everything virtually, so someone would get that, and they will call you back within usually 24 hours and set something. If it's not with them, they'll set something up with the right mentor for you to go forward with.
Great. Thank you, Ruth. So Sheila says, thanks, great info. Cora says, gee, I've had an account since 2012 and I'm not sure what I'm doing.
I think you need Ken.
Yeah, so reach out to me. I mean, that's why we're all here. We're here to help people, whether you know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. The thing is that things change all the time, and the constant contact that you knew several years ago is not the same one today. They have, the company was acquired about 3 years ago, and they have done a fabulous job of upgrading the platform. They've made it easier to use. There are more features to use than ever before. So if you haven't tried it in a while, go back in there and get a new subscription. It's completely freetrial.com. And once again, if the system says to you, hey, you've already got an account, use a different email address. Everybody's got more than one email address. You can always go in there afterward and change it. Well, we can change it for you too if you provide us with the login info. We don't have access to your info unless you give it to us. Ida says, thanks so much for your time and all the information you provided. I'll definitely go to the website. I'm working to launch in October. Very excited. Thank you. Oh, you're very, very welcome. Let's see. Cora says, this has been one of the best webinars I've ever attended. Not sure how I got the email, but thank you for the email. Well, we're just glad you got the email and that you're able to attend tonight. For those of you who provided your email address, thank you. We'll go ahead and get the info to you. Once again, my name's Ken Countess. I'm delighted that you spent this evening with us. I wish you a great rest of the week, and I hope you'll attend another one of our events in the near future.
And
Have a
can I
great
ask you
evening.
just one quick question?
Yeah, go.
I must have missed this at the top. To use a pre-header, do you have to have a package like Constant Contact, or how do you get a pre-header in your email?
Yeah, many of the email service providers do provide this pre-header option, and it's different depending on which service you're using. In Constant Contact, when you put in the subject line, it prompts you for the pre-header just below it. It's the same on several of the other platforms, but the pre-header, very simply stated, is when you open up your email, no matter what device you're on, you'll see the subject line first, and the next bit of text after that is the pre-header. If you're using a service that does not have something carved out especially for the pre-header, then the first bit of body text that you include in your email is what will serve as the pre-header. Looks like we have another question that's come in. Let me go see what that is. Lisa says, thanks, great to take another webinar with you. Well, you're welcome, and I hope you'll join me again. Peter says, thanks for a great presentation. Could you please forward the slide deck to my email? And he provided the email. Yes, absolutely. Once again, it may be tonight, but more than likely it'll be tomorrow morning. But either way, if you have a question, when you get the info, you know, sometimes so much of this happens so fast and you're like, what did he say? And so I know that the handout will help. As I said, it's a 17-page PDF. So every slide that you see is included there. I think it's 17 pages, but you know, we're here to help. So take advantage of it. Thanks once again for being with us tonight. And I look forward to the next time we all get together. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ken.